I'm so excited about sharing the vision that we have of where we're going. We've been inquiring of the Lord, as I talked about this morning, that we've been asking God, inquiring of the Lord, Lord, what do you have for us? And it's been really great to see the Lord just give us these things that we're going to share with you this evening. It's really exciting to see. We've been in a place of kind of survival as the church for the last, it feels like year and a half with COVID and all that. And now it's time for us to move forward, for us to take a step forward. So here's what we're going to do tonight. I just want you to know, I'm going to show you a bunch of slides, okay? So we're going to be cruising through that, which will be great. But I want to teach you, first of all, I want to teach you a new Greek word, okay? And this word actually means new. So that works perfect. It's a new word to you, and it actually means new. So the word is kainos, okay? So we're going to say it on the count of three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Kainos. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Kainos. Okay, we've got it up on the wall. You're going to hear this word over and over. We have picked a kind of weird word for this reason. We want people to ask, well, what does that mean? We want people to say, well, what are you talking about? Well, what do you mean by new? Because we have new things to do. You know, all throughout the scriptures, there's this word kainos. When you go back to Revelation that we just studied, they sang a new song to the Lord. They saw a new heaven, a new earth. He said, look, behold, I make all things new. Even when we were baptizing this morning, we had shirts that say, behold, all things are new. That's that word kainos. So I want to unpack for you the new things that God has before us as a church over the next 2 years is where we're going with this. So let me give you what our primary goal is, first of all, I want you to know. Our primary goal is that we would have 100% engagement, that every single person would jump in. We would have everybody be a part of it. Everybody would be excited about it. We'd have a new level of surrender. We talked about that this morning. We'd have a new level of faith in our church. We have a new level of generosity, and we would all kind of come arm in arm together. And our primary goal is we're going to step out and we're going to make a difference in the world and make a difference in our community and have an amazing time of kainos, of new things. Now, that's the primary goal. Now, I'm going to spend a lot of time on the secondary goal, but I don't want you to miss the primary goal. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, seek first His kingdom and righteousness, then all these things shall be added unto you. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on the all these things shall be added unto you part. But I want you to not miss the primary goal is we are aiming for our hearts. Our hearts. We want God to do something in us so He can do something through us. Now, the secondary goal, we've got 3 different buckets that we're going to have for the secondary goal. 1 is our commission. 2 is our community, and 3 is our compassion. I want you to say those words with me together. Ready? Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Our commission, our community, our compassion. One more time. Our commission, our community, our compassion. The first thing that I want you to get in your mind is our commission. It's based on the Great Commission. You know the Great Commission, if you've been around church for a while, it's Matthew chapter 28, where Jesus says, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations. And then it goes on from there. That's the Great Commission, right? The declaration of what are we to be about as a church, what are we to be about as Christians is the Great Commission. So I don't know if you know, but our mission statement is very simply the Great Commission. That's what it is. That's what we're to do as a church. And our budget, we actually call it the Great Commission Fund. That's what it's called. So our operating budget of everything we do every year, we call it the Great Commission Fund. If it doesn't fit into the Great Commission, then we don't want to be doing it. Right? So we want to be able to have all of that coming together to be able to do that. Now, here's what's going to blow you away. In 2 years, we will spend just on our normal Great Commission Fund, our operating budget, if you will, we will spend $63 million in the next 2 years. Our budget, and you might not know all these things, but our budget every year is $31.5 million. So quick math, 31.5 plus 31.5 is 63. That's where I get the 63. Now, I want you to think about that for just a second. Our church, in your giving and my giving, I'm a giver too, that our giving is resourcing $63 million worth of kingdom ministry in 2 years. That's incredible to think about. Tens of thousands of hours of worship. Yeah, let's cheer for that. That's great. Feel free to cheer throughout. It'd be great. To be able to resource or to give out money and food and benevolence, where we heard this morning that we've given in the last just month $130,000 for Afghanistan and Haiti and New York and Louisiana and all of the things that have taken place just in this last month, that God's used us to do that. So $63 million going out is absolutely incredible to think about. Tens of thousands of hours of mission work, tens of thousands of hours of worship, tens of thousands of hours of life Bible study, of events, of counseling, of fellowship, of ministry. I mean, just moving it forward in a huge way to be able to see all of this taking place. So that's our commission. Over the next 2 years, if we don't change anything, we're going to put $63 million into kingdom purposes. That's absolutely incredible. Here's this phrase I love, and you're going to hear me say this a lot in our time, not just tonight, but in the coming weeks. You don't give to a church, you give through a church, okay? So we're not asking you to give to the church, quote unquote. We're asking you to give through the church. What do I mean by that? Those tens of thousands of hours of changed lives is what we're giving through. We're not just giving to an entity, we're giving through so that we can provide all the things that bless all of our lives and reach other people as well, which is great. So that's our community. That's a big chunk, $63 million in 2 years, right? So we all got to step up. We all got to continue to give. If you're not giving, man, jump on in. But that's our commission. Now, our second thing, and this is where we're going to take another step, is our community. Our community. We want to increase the missional impact of Houston's First in our community by expanding and improving our facilities and our ministries. Do you know that since 1841, we're standing on the shoulders of people that have been building and been seeing this church grow? From 1841, God has been at work, and we're standing on the shoulders of generations before. As we were worshiping just a moment ago, I was thinking about the fact that, or we were actually in the back praying beforehand, and we're praying, and I just told the worship team, I said, you know what's amazing is somebody way back when was talking about building this facility. And then I got to be a part of redoing this facility and seeing all the things that we saw in the video. And I heard y'all laugh when you saw that young picture of me. I want you to know, I heard you, okay. And why didn't y'all tell me my clothes didn't fit very well, you know? But we've seen the backs, that we've been standing on these backs and these shoulders, building upon other people's generosity. It's been amazing. And we want to continue to do that. Continue to do that. I love this phrase. This guy's name is C.T. Studd. He was a missionary to India, Africa, and China. He's got a great quote, but first of all, he's got a great name. Let's don't miss the name. C.T. Studd. I mean, how about that as a name, right? Be like Bond, James Bond. It's like, no, Studd, C.T. Studd. You know, you're like, this dude's something, right? And not only that, he was a missionary, so that was cool to go to all those places. Can you imagine being a missionary to India, Africa, and China? Here's what he said, though. Here's the quote. The light that shines the farthest shines the brightest at home. The light that shines the farthest shines the brightest at home. So you're going to see in just a bit, we're going to talk about shining the light really, really far out into the world. But right now, we're talking about shining the light really, really bright at home. So what we want to do is we want to shine that light in a tremendous way. And the first part of this community part is a new future for our Sienna campus. Our Sienna campus has been growing like crazy, absolutely incredible, an amazing part of our city. And I want you to watch this video to give you an expression of what's happening and where we're going with building our community in our Sienna campus. The last couple months, we've been looking for a new pastor at our Sienna campus to be our Sienna campus pastor. The person that'll take at our Sienna campus and take the vision and minister and go forward with that. And the Lord has led us to right here on our own staff, Malcolm Marshall. God has put it on his heart and our heart. We're standing for you. We love you. We're behind you 100%.
I knew at some point the Lord was going to call me to pastor. And lo and behold, I go on a mission trip to Costa Rica. I can tell you, it's in 2016. I have a dream one night on this mission trip. And in this dream, I sense the Lord saying, update your resume. And I'm thinking, okay. I've learned though, when the Lord says stuff that kind of sounds like, I've learned just, all right, Lord, 2 months to the day I had that dream, I was asked to submit my resume for this position.
We started off little. I have seen exponential growth because this place embodies what I would call a home church.
We've seen people come to Christ. We've seen kids get baptized. We've seen lives changed. I know my life has changed.
I've seen families move from cultural Christianity to an abiding faith in Jesus that says my life on a Thursday afternoon is still wholly submitted to the Lord. It's not a Sunday thing. It's not a Wednesday thing.
The church really is a family itself. Here, you're really known by name. You're coming and you're really truly cared for.
Did we even go anywhere else?
No.
The people here just continue to develop a relationship with you, and it makes you feel very comfortable.
We really wanted to find a church community where we could grow with the church. When we settled down in Pearland, we tried here and immediately felt.
The moment we walked in, it was like, okay, this feels right.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that we lived here, moved away, and one of the biggest reasons we moved back to this neighborhood is for this church.
Mm-hmm. We're the hands and feet of Jesus, and we show the love of God to people, even through our differences.
Sienna is in a part of Fort Bend County, which is the most ethnically diverse county in America.
We have someone from all over the world right here in our own neighborhood, and so we have an opportunity to reach out to the world without ever getting very far.
Sienna is one of the fastest growing cities in the country right now. So all of these new people that are coming in, our role is really going to be to reach out to all these new people because they may not know Christ, they may have never heard about Jesus.
Sienna as a master plan community is not completely developed. By 2028, if the numbers bear themselves out, they're going to be probably 100,000 more people in this area. Practically speaking, one of the needs we have is a facility that will allow us to accommodate the growth that is happening here in this part of the city.
On like a Sunday morning, we're sitting in LBS, maybe we're praying for somebody, but in the background you hear the drums really loud from downstairs, or you need to go to the restroom, but there's kids running around everywhere.
When you're passing people in this area, you're, hey,
You can't help but bump into people and meet them and talk to them.
You have to meet new people like that.
Right. It's a good thing. It's a good problem to have, right? We have more people coming.
We're growing. The biggest thing God will do for us here is a new facility because I know that people are coming.
I can just see us outgrowing this place really, really fast. Whenever we have events here, people come out. And we do a lot of stuff outside, but it's really hot in Houston, if you haven't noticed.
The ability to create a safe space for people who maybe are not completely open to Jesus, but they are open to a place where their kids can come and enjoy themselves. They're open to a place where we can have honest discussions about what does it mean to raise kids and raise families in this day and in this time. Certainly there are some of those things around this area, but none of them through the lens of Houston's first.
So if we have a bigger place, we will fill it up. I am sure about that.
I don't think it's necessarily about having a nice facility or having the best of everything, but it's having a space that works for what we're trying to do. We all love Christ. That's our singular goal here, is to love Him and proclaim Him, and I think we can all get under that banner.
None of the stuff we have outside of our relationship with Jesus, that stuff's not going with us when the Lord calls us home. And so the ability to contribute to something bigger than ourselves, the ability to contribute to something that's going to continue to expand God's name and fame in the earth, that's an opportunity that if we're in Him, we would be foolish to not step into. What could God do if you were willing to say yes to the next right thing and this be the next right thing?
That's so awesome. Malcolm and Stacy, will y'all just raise your hands right back here? There's Malcolm and Stacy. We love you guys. Doing a great job. So cool, so cool. Well, Malcolm just gave you all the pretty pictures on the video. I get to give you the math problem of how much it's going to cost, of how it is. But we're excited about Sienna. I don't know if you realize, but the number 9 growing place in the country is our Cypress area, what our Cypress campus is. And number 15 growing in the entire country is the Sienna area, which is amazing that God's placed us in 2 campuses right in those spots. So this is what we want to do with our community, is we want to build a campus out there, even more so worship center. You saw some of the pictures. And it's going to cost about $17.7 million is what it's going to be. 12.7 million of that will be from Kainos that we're talking about right now. And then we anticipate borrowing 5 million for a total cost of $17.7 million to be able to build a facility out there that will be able to accommodate that growth and to be able to reach our community in even a greater way. We have more stuff that we want to do as well in our community. We want to reach out with digital community even more so. We want to expand our digital footprint with enhanced equipment, targeted content, and strategic distribution. And you can see that we have that there. How many of y'all have watched online church? You're part of the digital family at some point. Every single person. If I would ask that 2 years ago, you wouldn't have had that many hands raised. How many of y'all should have been at church and you watched online? Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. I know. Hey, just, it was easier on me too. I just preached one time and went home and watched myself at 11. That's all I would do. So it was great. Now I got to work all day, so. But digital church, we know that. We know our digital community and our digital family. That's a huge, big deal. Let me just give you some numbers about that. Do you know that during the quarantine, we were reaching over 11,000 viewers every week in our live stream? I hear every week and heard it even just tonight. Yeah, let's cheer. Heard it even tonight. Somebody said, my such and such relative has been watching you from Virginia, and somebody's been watching from California, and all these different things, which has been great. Social media, just as an example, Facebook, 44,000 fans, which has been great with that. YouTube, now this one really blew me away. YouTube, we have been averaging, on average since January, 9,000 hours of video watched on YouTube a month. 9,000 hours a month being watched on YouTube, which is incredible. Things we did like yesterday with the 9/11 prayer time that we had, which is just amazing to see. Just in the month of July, so a couple months back, just in the month of July, we had 115,000 page views of our website. Now get this, from 163 countries. Now, if you'd have told me counties, I'd have been like, well, that's pretty good. Countries, 163. So we want to expand that and really do a great job of being able to get the content. We feel like our content is solid in the teaching and the worship and the ministries we're doing and the things we're putting out there. And we want to be able to get it even further out to be able to reach the world in a great way. So that's a neat thing. Now here's a couple more exciting things coming up. A new chapter in the Loop campus that we want to do in particular. Now, here's what we've done. This is the Loop Campus Prayer and Vision Night. I want to encourage you. I want to celebrate with you. We've spent a lot of effort at the Loop Campus over the last few years of sending things out to other campuses. That's been an awesome thing. This has been the originating campus to send out and to do, and that's been wonderful. Well, there's some things we want to do here, right? We've been doing things here, lots of things. We hadn't just stopped, but we want to do some big things here as well. I'm really excited to show you the construction's already begun because we had to align with First Baptist Academy. So we stepped out in faith and we're going for it on the construction already. This is what the Oasis, which is right behind here, that's what it's going to look like when we get done with it. I want you to think Magnolia Silos. I want you to think City Center, right? All the Baylor fans are excited now. We got all that. I want you to think turf. We're going to have a stage there in the end. We'll be able to seat about 500 there, probably another or total 750 or 1,000 standing up around there. Outdoor venues, we've realized through COVID, are really important, and to be able to have those times together. Right now, what we've done for the last few years is we've had brick corners and sticker bushes, and that's been our vision. And then we send our kids out there to play, okay? That's what happens. Even my very own son, I won't tell him my daughter, but when he was younger, they would take these elephant ears out, and they'd pluck them out, and then they would whip each other with these elephant ears. And I'd be in the fellowship hall and somebody would come in and go, Pastor Gregg, Grayson just hit me with the elephant ears. And I'm like, surely we can do better on the vision of what's going on out here. So now we're going to actually make it safe. It's going to be awesome. Let me show you a couple more pictures. We're going to have lights strung across it. A great place. We want to reach out to the community. We're going to call it the Lawn at the Loop is what we're going to call it, the Lawn at the Loop. And we're going to be able to have movies out there at Christmas time. We're going to be able to have all sorts of celebrations out there. Great stuff happening that's just going to be incredible. Isn't that going to be fun? And we really want, to reach out and have folks coming and invite your friends and be a part of those sort of things. It's going to be really exciting. So the Lawn at the Loop, we felt like was a good name. We didn't want it to be the Turn and Burn Park, and then invite all your friends. So we've got that there, which is really great. Now, the next thing we're going to do at the Loop as well is we're going to expand the main foyer right out here. That's our living room for our campus. We're going to expand the main foyer. It's going to go out. If you come in that entrance or go out that entrance a little bit, you'll see the preschool building, the children's building. We're going to make it even with that. So we'll be able to do even bigger things out there and use it almost as a venue to be able to seat tables and such out there, which will be great. We'll have a nice porte-cochere that'll go almost to the curb, which will be there. You can see that with a nice brick pavers coming all the way across with no curb, just kind of sliding in, making it really pretty. This is just some conceptual renderings of the inside of it as we expand and make it pretty on the inside. And we've got a little staircase there, so choir and orchestra people celebrate. We have heard you, and we are building a staircase for you to go right up to the choir room up there, which is awesome to be able to have. But that's our living room. That's our foyer. And it's amazing. It's beautiful. Even the architect that built all that, amazing church member of ours for decades and decades, I saw him in the lobby about an hour ago, and he said, it's time. We need to redo this. So even he said that, which is great, and the excitement with that, which is really good to do that. Also at the Loop campus, lastly, what we're going to do is we're already working on our hub student ministry area to renovate that. We've got new fitness and recreation center and indoor playground that we have. And so we're going to do all this at the Loop campus, which is great. Now, we're going to do some things at Cypress, and we're going to do some things at downtown. But we're not going to do huge things at Cypress and downtown. We're doing huge things at Sienna. We're doing huge things at the Loop, but not at Cypress and downtown. Now, why would we not be doing huge things at Cypress and downtown? Well, I want you to know, because in Cypress, we have invested over 2013 to 2015, we've invested about $16 million in Cypress. So we've done, and if you hadn't been out there, it's an incredible facility, and they're reaching people like crazy, which is awesome. We've also, in 2017, in our downtown campus, we invested about $11 million, okay? So we're not just not doing stuff, we've done stuff, and now that's given us the opportunity to move over and to do other things that are here, right? So that's a blessing. So we're wanting every place to grow and expand. So let me give you the math problem on this. Our community, we want to invest about $20 million over the next 2 years to do all the things that I just told you. It's about $20 million is what that will be. I told you about the $63 million. That's what we're already doing. This is $20 million of new money. This is brand new stuff over the next 2 years. This is over and above our Great Commission Fund, our normal operating budget, which is really great. Now it's really going to get even more exciting, okay? Because in this time of Kainos, I told you the light that shines the brightest at home shines the furthest in the world, right? We are a mission church. We love the people outside the walls of this church. We love the people inside the walls of this church. That's us, right, too. But we love to make a difference outside the walls of this church. So the next thing that I want to give you, I've told you about our commission. I've told you about our community, and the next thing I want to tell you about is our compassion. Our compassion. That we have a compassionate heart, and we want to share, and we want to give, and so these are some missional endeavors that we're going to do together as a church to change the world. But I want you to get your mind around what we're already doing, and then also tell you some of the things we're going to do. We are already making a huge difference in our city, our nation, and our world. Watch this video with me together as we see what we're already doing and what we're going to do in our compassion.
The nations are coming to Houston, and when we have a faith center in the middle of where they start, that's a pretty powerful place to be. We get to be the hands and feet of Jesus to meet them in their time of need. We have multiple locations in Houston. Center in Spring Branch, we have another one in Faith Center Harwin in the Harwin area. So we have food pantries, we have clothes, we have financial assistance. We have ministries to apartment complexes. We have outreach teams, we have mission training. All of those are geared towards ministering to people, to their needs, and also to their heart. We get to do that in Houston through our church, through our centers, through these faith centers and local missions. We have some big goals. First, in Spring Branch, we're going to do extensive renovation. The property needs help, and it's had an incredible life of ministry, but it's time to do some work to expand and extend that life. We have to replace the mechanical. And then we're going to provide the environment that really helps ministry thrive, for people to come, feel comfortable, and minister to one another. So many people use that space, churches, ministries, multiple organizations, and they all get to work alongside each other in a place. They can invite people over, they can do the ministry they were called to do. For 5 years, we've been at this current property for Faith Center Hardwood, which it's been incredible. It's in the middle of a very diverse community, but the thing is, the property, it does have some issues that we've got to work on. We need to acquire property for a couple of reasons. First, with our food pantries, we need a better setup to have food come and go. We need to expand our food pantry with the needs that have been coming up in this part of the city. But we also need a place that we can renovate, that we can actually make it a more hospitable and welcoming environment. While it's been a great property all these years, we haven't been able to invest because we don't own it. It's really better stewardship to invest in a property that we own so that we can make it the welcoming place that it ought to be for these ministry partners, these church plants, and even the ministries that we run ourselves out of the space. The organizations we work with, they use our spaces for all kinds of things, for a headquarters, a place to work, a place to do ministry. Some are just coming for a place to grow and develop and even launch from our centers into their own space. And we work with them at all types of levels. We collaborate together, we talk together, and we try to walk alongside each other. But it's all for the mission of expanding the kingdom of Jesus in Houston and beyond the city. And we have impact all over the place, throughout this country and even to the other side of the planet. We have partnerships in this work to engage the unengaged. We can train people here and send them there effectively equipped, ready to do the work. And we can collaborate with short-term teams or even long-term work. And that's pretty incredible that we can use local missions work to equip people for the work overseas. You know, we've had a vision for these centers, and this is it: local missions and global impact. When we think of the ministry and we consider our legacy, the things that we are about, the things that we invest in with our time and our resources, I can't think of a better thing to invest in than this kind of work. We've been told by Jesus to make disciples of the nations, to be a witness, to tell of His power and His salvation to all of these people in our city, all these nations, these ethnic groups. And we get to do that, and by investing in this kind of work and being a part of this kind of work, we get to have that type of connection with Jesus and His command and His work and His commission. And that's so valuable, so powerful, that we actually get to live out the scripture, the Bible, when He tells us to go and make disciples. Our investment into this space, into this area, helps us fulfill that directly. And this is in our city. This is right here in Houston. And we get to make that difference here, and we get to be a part of it together. Kainos has the potential to leave that legacy.
It's so exciting. When we talk about our compassion, we're talking about loving people by furthering the gospel in our city, our nation, and our world. And I love the fact that you might not realize this, we have just as many campuses as we do faith centers. And that's been really important to me and the staff and the deacon body as well, is that we wouldn't have a whole bunch of campuses in like one little place where we just kind of give food to make ourselves feel better. But that we've got 4 campuses and we've got 4 faith centers that we're able to really make a difference, and that's awesome. And so what we want to do is we want a Faith Center Spring Branch, which is right over on Long Point. We want to do extensive renovations, as Justin said, and to really just get that back up. We feel like we're going to give 25 years of new life to that facility is what we're going to do of ministry. And then we want to find a building in the Harwin area off of Beltway 8 and Ranchester and all that down Harwin, kind of right before 59 when it hits Beltway 8. We want to buy a building down there so that we can plant a church. And we don't have that building addressed yet. We haven't found that building yet. So be praying for that. Real estate agents in the church, go forth, okay? And find us a building. And so that we can be able to put together and plant a church in there and do some great things, which is going to be really amazing to be able to do that. Spending over $6 million on that as well. We love not only our community, but we love the world. So we want to help with being strategic in South Asia to help ministries that are happening there in South Asia, and to be able to spend about $300,000 there to reach unengaged and unreached people groups. I'm going to tell you a little statistic in just a minute that's going to blow you away, but we want to go out. We want to reach in that way. We love folks, we love kids, right? We love kids, and we love those that are struggling. And so what we want to do is we want to continue to love on the orphans and vulnerable children. And so we're going to invest some money. Legacy 68.5 is our church ministry to adoption. We are well over helping 200 kids to be adopted, which is amazing to think about that. We've given millions of dollars away in adoption, which has been incredible. And in the Faith Center over here on Long Point, there's going to actually be a wing of that Faith Center that's going to be dedicated just to adoption. So it's going to be our offices. We got full-time staff, one of the few churches in the country that has full-time staff for adoption. We're going to have a place where there's physical therapy and emotional therapy and all these things to help these kids going through things, and the families as well. You know, adoptive parents will tell you, it's not just it ends at the adoption point. There's that parenting part that's a blessing and also has challenges along with it. So we want to help those folks with that. The places in Kenya, the one in Kenya there, that's a special needs home that we're going to help build a building for special needs children to be ministered to in Kenya. And then the Vine's going to help kids in Uganda as well, which is going to be great. So we're going to invest almost $1 million to be able to do that. We think by some other things we're going to do later on and these things that we're going to do, and I want you to get this, because this is mind-blowing. We think in the next 5 to 6 years that we'll be able to reach 3 to 5% of all the unengaged and unreached people groups in the world from one church. Now get that. Check that out. 3 to 5% of all the unengaged and unreached people groups in the world, we think from this one church in the next 5 years or so, we're going to be able to reach that. And it's going to be some other stuff. We're going to talk about some Bible translation in particular in just a minute. But I just want you to hear that as we're talking about reaching out to the world. The light that shines the brightest at home shines the farthest in the world. Missionaries. We love missionaries. If you love missions, you got to love missionaries, right? Those are the folks that go out. So we're going to, if you've ever been to Hunt Retreats in Brookshire, it's kind of past Katy, we've got some land out there, and we're going to build some cottages out there. They're going to be missionary care cottages. And so they'll be able to come on furlough and be outside all the rigmarole of Houston and get out there. Yeah, cheer for that. That's awesome. And so we're going to build some cottages out there that these missionary families will be able to come, because, you know, we put them into different apartments, and that's all well and good and a great thing, but we want to even have it a little bit prettier, a little bit more control than just in an apartment complex that we could have to do that. And then when we're not using them for that, we'll be able to flip them and use them for retreats that we have out there. So there'll be multi-use for them that's there. Missionary care and Hunt Retreat cottages, those things. And then Thrive On Wellness Centers actually started from a group in our own church, Ron and Cynthia Barkley, that are at our Sienna campus, and they're going to start a ministry that's going to help missionaries that'll be able to counsel them and help them. Now, this is a bad statistic, but I want you to hear it. 7,000 missionaries come off the field a year. 7,000 come off the field a year. Most of it's for preventable causes. Okay? They get burned out. They feel lonely. Many of your Life Bible Study classes are sponsoring missionaries. Man, pray for them, write them a letter, send them a text, send them an email, whatever it is. They feel alone. Conflicts on teams, and we want to help them so that we can lower that number, right? We don't want 7,000. We're trying to get more people out there, not 7,000 going the wrong way, right? So we want to help in that way. So we're going to be able to put about $1 million into that. As we roll along our Compassion with New Life, we're going to help church revitalization in our city and also in the U.S. We have a long history of helping declining churches, and we want to help those churches. I don't know if you know this, but we don't think we're the only church in town, right? We want to play well with others. We want to help other churches do really, really well. We're going to plant new churches all across the United States as well, and we're going to invest about $800,000 in declining churches and helping to start new churches. Gave a little bit of a hint of this, new Bible translations. There's about 7,300 plus known languages and about 3,900 that don't have a translation in their own language. So we want to be able to help with that. We've got a long history of helping with Bible translations. If you remember a message a few months ago, I'd stacked up all the Bible translations that we had that we've already done. We want to do more to be able to do that. So we're going to invest some money in that. So that's how we're going to reach these unengaged people groups to be able to do that. So that's an incredible thing. Now, the last idea, and we're about to wrap up, so hang in there, the last idea I want to give you is with this new, Kainos new, we just were like, let's just do something new. Let's do something crazy. I mean, if this isn't crazy enough, what we've already put before you, let's do something crazy and just see what God has for us in this, which is really great to be able to see all the things that the Lord has done in the past, but we want to do new things in the future as well. So what we're doing is the best way, this isn't really spiritual, but it's kind of a Christian Shark Tank is what it is, a new idea. This is what we're doing. We got some team leaders together, and these gentlemen are amazing men of God and great guys, and they're given the charge of this, and they're putting together a template for us. It says in Ephesians chapter 4, equip the saints to do the work of the ministry, okay? So, and I know we're kind of established in the, Christian church in America that we let the professionals, vocational ministers, we do the ministry. But it's really the saints that do the ministry. It's all of us have a ministry to do that. So what we want to do is we want to put kind of some venture capital, right? We want to put some capital and some counseling. So here's what it would look like. Just a little rough template of this. When somebody has an idea in our church of, I've got this ministry idea, then they can meet with a team of our people in our church that these gentlemen will put together. They can meet and they can help them work through a business plan. What do you want to do? What's the ministry idea? And then we could say, you know what? We want to get behind that as a church, and we're going to give you not only resources, we're going to give you counsel, and we're going to walk through this with you to be able to help this ministry birth from our church. Our church has birthed some incredible ministries. Let me show you the next slide. These are some ministries that have birthed from our church. Did you know Memorial Hermann came from our church? It was the Baptist Memorial Hospital System, and it came from our church, right? That's mind-blowing to think about. Now, there was other churches, I'm sure, involved in it, but it's a part of the Red Book, the history book. Every Village, First Place, Freedom Alliance. I see Carol here from First Place doing such a great job with that, getting that off the ground. Charm Ministries, Trinity Classical, Beth Moore's ministry, Star of Hope, Inspire Women. And we could go on and on and on and on of ministries. Just those are some ones that maybe you've heard of. Well, we want to see God do something of just raising this up and making this happen and just seeing God do new things, right? It's Kainos. We want new, of watching God do great things. So what are we going to do for our compassion? We're going to invest over the next 2 years $10 million of new money in the next 2 years of loving the people by furthering the gospel in our city, our nation, and our world. Man, exciting. So let me give you the math problem as we put this whole thing together, okay? I want to give you the whole thing of what we're trying to do so that we can get this together, okay? We had 3 buckets: our commission, our community, and our compassion. So the first thing I told you about, $63 million over the next 2 years. If we don't do anything but what we're doing, we're going to invest in worthy ministries. Remember the video at the beginning of the night when all those ministries came up? $63 million. $20 million into our community and $10 million into our compassion, so that $93 million for kingdom purposes over the next 2 years would come not to the church, but through the church to be able to have people's lives changed in an amazing way. Now that's a huge number, right? Yeah, cheer. And that's awesome. That is an amazing thing. And here's how we're going to do it. We're making this is going to be a one fund initiative. Now here's what this means. Accountants, listen up, all right? Instead of having you give to the normal operating budget, and then you write a different check over here, and you give to this new stuff we're going to do. What we're going to do as a congregation, and we've done this before, is we want 100% participation. We've seen that with World Mission Offering, how that's blown it through the roof. We want everybody to be involved. We want everybody to give to the work of the church, right? And these are the things we're going to do. So we're going to need new givers to step up that have never given before, right? We're going to need people that aren't walking with the Lord in a real giving's a priority for me. I'm doing all my other stuff and then I'm giving at the end. Needing you to put the priority of giving at the front and then being able to take care of everything else in the back. We're going to need those that are giving faithfully, those that are tithers, and everybody, really, all of us, to all step it up a notch. This is a God-sized task. I don't think we can anybody got 93 million and we'll just end the night? I don't think so. It's going to take all of us stepping up a notch or two or whatever God leads you in giving to the church for us to accomplish all these things. Every single one of us is involved. So if you're in a place right now where giving, you're kind of not really there, man, jump on board. This is incredible stuff. Don't you want to be a part of it? And for us to jump out and to say, Lord, do your work through us and through the church to make this difference. You'll hear more about this. I'm going to do an entire series called Kainos. You're going to receive some more information even tonight. And we're going to be able to give. We're going to have a time at Sienna campus that we want everybody to come to on October 24th, that we'll all come, and we'll have an advanced commitment night that if God's laid a number on your heart, we want you to come and be a part of it and then give in that moment. We're going to do some campus events at different campuses. You can see kind of some dates up here, which are going to be great. But I just want you to hear all of us stepping it up and really going for it in a great way. Now, let me give you this. I want to tell you a little story. Kelly's dad passed away in November of this year. And so you may remember that. And if you don't, that's okay. But her dad passed away in November. And then her grandmother passed away earlier in the summer. And it wasn't her dad's mom, it was her mom's mom. So we've had death on both sides of the family. And so when her dad passed away, there's this storage shed in the back area of where they lived and where she grew up. And so that was her grandmother's shed. And so Grayson, my son, he loves old stuff. And so he went back in that shed, and this shed is filled literally with like love letters from World War II written back and forth. I mean, all sorts of things. And it's filled with like every National Geographic known to man. Okay, so if you want a National Geographic, come talk to us, okay? We've got a whole lot of them. If you want to help your family clean out before you die, okay, that'll be another thing that would be really great to do. So Grayson goes through all these things. He's looking at different things, and he finds this card in all of the stuff in Oma. That's what we called her, Kelly's grandmother's shed. This card is a commitment card. Robert E. Mitchell, follow me on this, that's Kelly's grandfather. So Oma, who just died at 102 years old. This was her husband that died. I never met him. He died before I was in the picture. So this is like 20, 30 years ago. I've been in the picture about 25 years now at this point. This is his commitment card. Look at the top. From May 29th, 1921. So he's about 4 or 5 years old at the time of this commitment card. He's going to give $2.50 to end up with a total pledge, this is to a church in Corsicana, of $12.50 is what his pledge is going to be over these years. Now that's amazing. Let me tell you what that is. That's great parenting is what that is. For a 4 or 5-year-old to be talking about it. And students, I see a lot of young faces here. We want you to give your own gift to this, not just be coattailing with your parents, but giving your own gift. Parents, use this to teach your children. Now look at the pledge at the top. In support of, go back. In the pledge at the top, in support of the plans of the ME Church South to establish a thorough system of Christian education and to increase the facilities and to raise the standards of its educational institutions in consideration of subscriptions by others, I hereby promise to pay, blah, blah, blah. Now, we don't have that written on any of our commitment cards, okay? But it's really cool that they're in 1921. What are they trying to do? Same thing we're trying to do, to build a facility to facilitate ministry. Now I want you to look at the back of this card. There's Robert E. Mitchell again. He was also a World War II veteran, I want you to know. Total pledge of $12.50. Look at how it came in. In 1922, he gave $7.50 by the end of that year. Remember, the card was from 1921. 1924, another $2.50 came in. 1926, another $2.25 or 50 cents. Then $12.50, paid in full. Don't you love the beautiful handwriting? Paid in full, this. I want you to know the power that I felt in my heart for my son to hold this card in his hand. This means my wife's family has over 100 years of legacy of giving to God's purposes. Isn't that incredible? 100 years of legacy. And what's incredible is when my son held this card and I was like, wow, absolutely amazing. What happened at the end of the 20s? The Great Depression, the stock market crash. But let me tell you, that $12.50 was spent on eternal purposes, and it did not fly away. And let me tell you the power for my family when we hold a Kainos card next to a 1921 card. Wow. Nobody's probably going to find your card 100 years from now. Maybe they will. But you have an opportunity to have a legacy of giving in your family and your life of something that moth and rust can never steal and can never eat away, and it's giving to the kingdom work of the Lord. So this is prayer and vision. I've given you vision. Isn't it exciting to see what we're going to do in our community? Exciting to see what we're already doing in our commission. Exciting to see what we're going to do in our compassion. And you don't have to fill out anything tonight. This is where you take this card, you'll get it in a little while, and you put it someplace where you can see it, and you can think about it, and you can pray, and you can go to the Lord, and you can maybe even repent before God and say, God, we have not been faithful. And it's time for us to be faithful. And Lord, we want this kind of card to be shown in this kind of card right here.